Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined remotely by writer, director, producer, one Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
Dude, today's the day.
We're going to go see Project Hail Mary tonight.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited I've been waiting. Well, I mean, it's almost April, so I've literally been waiting a year. I've been waiting a year to watch this film. I cannot wait to see this. And guys, by the way, keep your eyes open a little bit later tonight for when I do my out of theater reaction for it. That will be later this evening, and I'm looking forward to it. But listen, guys, most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about one topic in many different pieces, and that is, of course, the Oscars that are this Sunday. Now, after we're done our Oscar conversation, I'm going to throw it open to you guys in our chat to send some in. Now, there's two different ways to send in a question for us to address. One is if you're not watching the show live. If you don't watch the show live, but you'd still like to send in a question, use our tip link at streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. You can find the link to that down in the description. But if you are watching live, you can use the super chat feature in the live chat and send in a question that way. And we do reserve the right, of course, to not address any question that we deem to be inappropriate or not applicable to the show. All right. With that all down, guys, let's get into it. Rob, this weekend is, of course, this is it. This is beyond any shadow of a doubt, the biggest day of the movie calendar year. It's the Oscars. 100%. It's when the 9,000+ members of the Academy, writers, directors, actors, musicians, producers, publicists, all these people in the, movie making world come together and vote their peers as to what they deem to be the best of the year. And, it's my second favorite day of the year, Rob, other than Christmas. I hold it in more hype than my own birthday, than my anniversary. Don't tell Ann that. But it's the day. And, we've got a number of really interesting races. Now, there are some races, and we're going to talk about these. There are some races that are quite frankly locks already, like absolute locks, but we'll talk about those. But there are some that have gotten kind of interesting. So guys, we're going to take the next, half hour and go through some of these different races. These are our final predictions. We're going to give our will win, should win, and we'll go with this. Now, I do want to mention this off the top too. You guys remember yesterday we talked about online betting and we talked about betting on the Oscars. We are going to be using a site today called Kalshi, but I do want to emphasize I'm using it for the data. They are not sponsoring today's show. Just to be clear, especially coming off of our conversation yesterday, they are not sponsoring today's show, but they have a great site laying out the data of odds for the people in the running. So we're going to be using the data there that tens of thousands of people go and contribute to. So we're going to use that data there. And the one we're going to start off with first here, Rob, I actually think is not the biggest one, but I think it's the most interesting of the races. And that is Best Lead Actor. Now, we know Wagner Moura from The Secret Agent is in there. We know Handsome Hawk is in there. Leonardo DiCaprio is in there. And Leonardo DiCaprio's got a shot. But what is very, very clear here is that the two front horses in this, by a wide margin, is Timothée Chalamet and Michael B. Jordan. I did an editorial the other day talking about how prior to the SAG Awards, now known as the Actor Awards, Timothée Chalamet was a 16-point favorite to win Best Actor. The day after the SAG Awards, which Michael B. Jordan won, the odds flipped, and Michael B. Jordan went from a 16-point underdog to a 21-point favorite. And as of right now, if I can bring this up, Michael B. Jordan. Oh, I got the wrong one here. Let me bring up my there we go. Michael B. Jordan is now a 25-point favorite. A 25-point favorite.
Wow.
Now, Marcus is saying the ballet and opera. By the way, I'm so sick of those fucking losers crying. Anyway, the ballet and opera voting block going for Jordan. Don't forget, the voting was already done. The vast majority of the Oscar voting was already done by the time the ballet and opera stuff came out there. But 57% to 32%. Listen, there are a lot of people coming into Oscar season that, despite the fact that Timothée Chalamet was kind of sweeping up all the other awards, that there was still a strong sense out there that there was a lot of momentum behind Michael B. Jordan anyway, because his performance in Sinners is staggering. Absolutely staggering. So is Timothée Chalamet's, but Michael B. Jordan's is staggering. So for him to win one of the majors leading up to the Oscars was not a surprise, but to win the SAG right before the Oscars was a bit of a surprise. All right. So we already said, we took a look at the odds here. Right now, Michael B. Jordan is 57% to win. Timothée Chalamet is 32% to win. All right, Rob, here we go. I'll start with my who should wins. Timothée Chalamet should win. Timothée Chalamet should win. Now, here's the thing. It is so close to me. And by the way, I think, even though it's pretty clear he's not going to win, I think, honestly, Leonardo DiCaprio, Michael B. Jordan, and Timothée Chalamet's performances are all coin tosses to me. It's like, seriously, I could put on a blindfold and go, I pick this one, and I would be perfectly fine. If they read out the name, if they open the envelope and they read out the name Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm totally good with that. If they open up the envelope and read Timothée Chalamet, I am totally good with that. And if they open up that envelope and it reads Michael B. Jordan, I am 100% totally okay with that.
Yeah.
But if I had a vote, and I do not, as razor thin sharp as the margins are, again, this is taking nothing away from DiCaprio's performance or Michael B. Jordan's performance, but there's just something about that performance in a terrible movie. I did not like Marty Supreme at all. And yet he found a way to totally shine in it. I think by the slimmest of margins, I'm going to say should win Timothée Chalamet. For will win, I'm going to go against the crowd wisdom here. I think Chalamet's still going to win.
Wow.
I think Chalamet's still going to win. Now, an argument can be made, Rob, that the largest block of voters in the Oscars are people from the actors branch. And the actors just voted Michael B. Jordan, but I still think that was close. And so I'm going to pick the upset for Timothée Chalamet to win, and I'm going to say Timothée Chalamet should win. Rob, let's start with who should win this and who will win this. What do you think?
Look, I do think that Michael B. Jordan should win because in addition to just acting, he had a technical and VFX challenge playing twins. And the amount of technical proficiency while you're acting, trying to create two separate performances and differentiate between two brothers, to me, it exponentially makes what he was doing more difficult. And as an acting exercise, I can't imagine what it was like. And then he plays a third character, and one of the characters makes a transformation, and he's still doing the same thing. So I think he should win. I don't think he will win.
Oh,
yeah. I think I'm with you.
Really? You're picking the underdog in this too.
I'm going to pick the underdog now. Again, they all deliver great performances, and I've been a Michael B. Jordan fan forever, since The Wire and since Friday Night Lights. But I just think that it's a weird. I mean, look, after the SAG Awards, it wouldn't surprise me if he wins. And I think that what was the difficulty he had to undergo technically and as an acting challenge was far more difficult than, not to take it away from the other two guys, but it just exponentially added different elements. He couldn't even perform. He had to be watching the way they were shooting him, and you had to worry about where the camera was, and there were things.
Well,
that
part of that is Ryan Coogler's doing. Like Ryan Coogler is the one who's as the director of the film, who's really orchestrating all of that.
But it's still tough as an actor.
Oh, for sure.
But I do think, that Timothy Chalamet, that was a tour de force performance.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and I mean, the level of energy in that character was also probably just, he probably went home every day exhausted, trying to keep that character in the forefront of his mind and creating that character. And when you watch the movie, you don't even remember you're watching Timothy Chalamet. You're watching this guy, and the intensity was incredible. And I feel terrible thinking, and Leonardo DiCaprio was good. I mean, I've loved Leonardo DiCaprio for 30 years as an actor. So, And by the
quick shout out to the other guys involved in there too.
Yes.
Ethan Hawke was remarkable.
He gives a career best performance, maybe.
Yeah. Wagner Moura in The Secret Agent was a revelation. That movie, I was really, really late to The Secret Agent. Like I only saw it for the first time just a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, me too.
To just because I was trying to get caught up on what the Oscar films were. And it's amazing. It's really good. It's with a heartbreaking kind of an ending, but more in it is fantastic. But so you and I are both guessing that they're going to read the name Timothy Chalamet. I'm thinking that's what they should do, but you think they should go Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
So, all right. So that's where we're ending on that. Okay, guys. What do you think? Who do you think should win Best Actor? Who do you think will win Best Actor? Make sure you jump into the comments and leave your picks there. And you know what? Listen, Ty Marshall just made the understatement. This one's hard. To me, it's a very, very hard one to pick. And like I said, in these odds, they're only doing the top two frontrunners with the odds, but I think legitimately, although I don't think he has a chance to win, I think this really is a three person pick 'em with Leonardo DiCaprio being in there as well. But there you go. Okay. Let's move on now, shall we? To Best Supporting Actor. Now, of course, we've got the Oscars coming up. And Rob, I thought for most of the Oscar season, the guy I would give, to me, the guy who gets Best Supporting Actor is Sean Penn for One Battle After Another. You're talking about the guy from Mystic River. You're talking about the guy who has won Oscars and in leading roles. And I thought this supporting role in One Battle After Another was his best performance he's ever given. And I just thought it was absolutely remarkable, but he wasn't going to win. All the momentum was going to some other names. Stellan Skarsgård, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein was getting a lot of push. But then something funny happened a couple of months ago. Sean Penn's name started picking up a lot of momentum. And then again, the SAG Awards happens. And now, according at least to the public's viewpoint, Sean Penn is considered a 74% favorite to win Best Supporting Actor. And you know what? I just told you, there's no secret here about who I think should and will. I think Sean Penn should win. I've been saying this for a long time. And by the way, his co-star in the movie, Benicio del Toro, was also fantastic. But I just thought Sean Penn gave a transformative, powerhouse performance filled with nuance and quirks and all that kind of stuff. So I absolutely think he should win. And Rob, I'm going to say he will win. So I'm going to go with the public sentiment on this. I believe Sean should win. I think Penn will win. Who should, who will?
I got to go with you on this too. I mean, look, a lot of people would say that Sean Penn's performance was a little broad. but I'm with you. I mean, again, I've been watching Sean Penn since 82 Fast Times at Ridgemont High, maybe once before that. And I was knocked out by his performance. I would call his performance deliciously entertaining. And it's not easy to do what he did. And I just think, look, if a performance makes a movie memorable, unforgettable, you have to sit down and say, hey, this is a worthy performance. And I think the same is true of I guess in the female category, we have a very, very showy, very entertaining performance that's been sweeping the awards, and I think rightfully so. But Stellan Skarsgård is an incredible actor, and
Oh, dude, and that movie is so good. That movie, nobody saw it, and it's so good, and he kills it in it.
It's so good, and he kills it. And I would dare say that, look, the two performances are trying to achieve different things. Sean Penn, the performance is much showier. Stellan Skarsgård, though, talk about verisimilitude, and it makes you believe. Like, you cease to be watching an actor, and you're watching a character. Whereas I would say that Sean Penn, you're watching an actor playing a character. So, but you always know it's Sean Penn. Whereas, but I still have to give it to him, man. I have to give it to him. But I think Stellan Skarsgård should win. I'm going to change it. He should win, but Sean Penn's going to win.
All right. And by the way, big props to other guys who turned in amazing performances, whether it's Delroy Lindo, Jacob Elordi, Benicio del Toro, whatever. But yeah, I think it's going to be Sean Penn's year. I'll be really surprised if it's not. All right. Let's now move on to another category here that I know Rob appreciates a great deal. We're going to move on to the category of best cinematography. And again, there are 5 nominees, but it's really down between 2. And those 2 are One Battle After Another and Sinners. And Rob, let me just ask you, where do you think the public before I bring up the numbers, what do you think the public sentiment is on? One Battle After Another or Sinners for best cinematography?
Sinners.
All right. It's One Battle After Another by a wide margin. And you know what? I am, just like the Sean Penn one, I am in full agreement with this. Listen, Sinners is my favorite film of the year. All right. Mm-hmm. Sinners is my favorite film of the year. But the cinematography in One Battle After Another, like, you just go to that car chase in Act 3. You know what I'm talking about, right, Rob? Like,
oh, dude, that car chase is, yeah.
Every shot choice, every angle, every perspective was, the color choice was pure perfection. Like, from a cinematography point of view, again, Sinners is my favorite film of the year, but I have to agree with the public sentiment on this. I think One Battle After Another should win this. And honestly, I don't even think it's that close. Remember we were saying about, like, Michael B. Jordan, Timothée Chalamet, Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, it's so close. I could go with any of them, but that's not the case here. I think clearly One Battle After Another was the better cinematography, and that's taken nothing away from the cinematography in Sinners, which, again, my favorite movie of the year. But I'm going to go, will win One Battle After Another, should win One Battle After Another. Rob, what about you?
I was so captivated by the look of Sinners. I just thought the photography was, again, just incredibly gorgeous. Now, One Battle After Another has great cinematography, and I would say the thing about One Battle After Another is it was also the choice of lenses. Like, in that car chase, they didn't just slap one lens on the camera. There was some really interesting changes of lenses and all kinds of things happening in that sequence that made it, I mean, it was incredible. And, but I would think, for me, the time and the place and the evocation of the period, the cinematography for Sinners for me was so atmospheric, and it was so gorgeous, and it was so drenched with this dreamy quality to it that I find it mesmerizing. It's a different kind of cinematography, but it was still, I mean, I thought it was a triumphant work of art.
But you know what it was to me with Sinners was, I agree with everything you just said, but a lot of that in Sinners for me came down to set design rather than cinematography. Whereas I found it was really the camera doing all the work in One Battle After Another. And I think a lot of the heavy lifting in Sinners was set design. But again, I mean, it was great. It deserved to be nominated, but I think should win, will be one battle after another. All right, guys. What do you think? Make sure you jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. Let's move on to another one here, shall we? This is another big one. Talking Best Director at the Oscars. And listen, many great names mentioned, but we all know it's coming down to two. Once again, it's a one battle after another versus Sinners thing. It's director Paul Thomas Anderson and the great Ryan Coogler, both of whom did masterful jobs with their respective movies. So Rob, once again, I'm going to go over to you. What do you think between Paul Thomas Anderson and Ryan Coogler for Best Director? Who do you think has the public sentiment?
Okay. I think Ryan Coogler has everyone's public sentiment. I really do. I think people love him.
All right, let's go take a look. Well, before you go to it, though, but before we get your predictions, let's go and actually look at who the public thinks it's going to win. And it's not even close. It's Paul Thomas Anderson. Yeah. 92% to 9%. So it's probably like 91.8 to whatever. But anyway, Paul Thomas Anderson by far and away the favorite in this. And, you know, this is just what's that?
Well, I just wanted to clarify. I meant in public sentiment. I mean, people love Ryan Coogler, like as a dude, as a guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's what I meant to be. And I think every time you see him appear and speak, and he's so funny and he's so personable, and he's worked so hard, and he's worked with his friends and started a company. So that's what I mean by that. But I was going to say, I think what Paul Thomas Anderson accomplished in this movie was extraordinary. And I think there's no contest that he should win, and he will win. Yeah,
I'm going to half disagree with you. Listen, this, like Michael B. Jordan, Timothée Chalamet, to me, this is pick one. Like, honestly, Paul Thomas Anderson, Ryan Coogler, either one of those names, the envelope gets open and they read either one of those names, I am perfectly happy with it. That being said, I think Ryan Coogler should win. And I'm going to go back to, you know, Rob, I always say it, and not everybody agrees with me, and that's fine, but I always say that the number one job, like the director has many very important jobs, but to me, his primary job, the primary job of the director is to get the best performance out of their actor possible. Now, of course, Paul Thomas Anderson, what he did was Sean Penn, Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, like everybody, amazing. But you were pointing out the particular challenges of having Michael B. Jordan playing two distinct characters, and one of those characters themselves having to play two distinct characters, the human one, the vampire one. And, you know, when you were talking about Michael B. Jordan's performance, one of the things I kind of threw in there, and I kind of tipped my hand a bit, was I think you got to give some of the credit of that to the director. And I think because of that, I think everything else between Paul Thomas Anderson and Ryan Coogler in One Battle and Sinners is so close, it's practically a coin toss. And for me, the thing that just pushes it over the edge just a little bit is that one defining feature, what he was able to do with Michael B. Jordan in that movie. So I'm going to say I think Ryan Coogler should win. Like if I had a vote, I'd go Ryan Coogler. But Paul Thomas Anderson will win. He will win. Yeah. Like there's no doubt about that. He will win. And I have no qualms with that at all. Like I said, I would vote for Coogler, but it's so close to me that I have no problem with either one of them winning. And I think this one is going to go to Paul Thomas Anderson. Will walk away with Best Director at the Oscars. All right, guys. What do you think? Who's going to take Best Director at the Oscars? Paul Thomas Anderson, Ryan Coogler, or do you see a total outsider? Jump down to the comments and let me know your thoughts. You're going to say something, Rob?
No, I was just going to, well, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, you know, again, well, yes, we agree.
We agree. All right. Let's move on to the next one. We won't spend too much time on this because this is the lockiest of locks that ever locked. We're talking about Best Actress at the Academy Awards. There is no drama here. There is no question here. She has swept everything during award season. She should win. She will win. And it's not even a question. Jessie Buckley for Hamnet is going to win. And as you can see, she's a 97% favorite. This is should, will, nothing else came close. Again, Rose Byrne, a number of the other performances were just, at a sentimental value alone were crazy good. But I mean, like the moment I saw Hamnet, and I didn't realize that, hey, this girl is the same one that's going to be in The Bride. And by the way, she's amazing in The Bride.
Yeah.
She's so good in The Bride. This is her year, and she's so good. You know, Rob, how for a while Emma Stone just kind of took over the business for there's like a 6-year span. I mean, you could argue she's still kind of in the captain's seat. But I think in the next few years, you're going to see Jessie Buckley's name mentioned. I think in the next 5 years, you're going to see at least 3 nominations out of her. I'm just guessing, but she's that good. Or maybe Hamnet and The Bride were just lucky shots and she just happened to lightning struck and she gave career-defining performances. Maybe we'll never hear from her again. But regardless, she will win. She should win. Rob, Best Actress category. How do you see it?
100%. I mean, Hamnet, what a beautiful film. I interviewed the production designer and the costume designer that's on this channel. You can watch that, the Designing Hollywood. I don't think I've ever seen an actress deliver the kind of performance that so perfectly encapsulates the story that's being told as what Jessie Buckley does in Hamnet. I mean, it is the movie, and look, this is not to take anything away from the Street Monster because she's amazing too, but I mean, the culmination, the grief and it's heart-wrenching. I mean, and the whole movie was that. And I loved it. I thought it was a beautiful performance. And some people have said now that it's being reassessed like it was overwrought. And I'm like, I don't think that's true at all. I love what she did in this film. I thought it was absolutely extraordinary. And again, not to take away from other actresses in the category, but what she did was, I'm not going to say the word triumphant because they'll make fun of me, but it was transcendent. It was a miraculous performance, and she deserves all the kudos, and she's going to win.
Yeah. Like I said, guys, I think this one is the lockiest of locks. I mean, this is the one that you can just set it and forget it, walk away. Jessie Buckley is going to have an Academy Award on her mantle by the end of Sunday night. All right. With that down, let's move on to one that is a much closer race. The Oscar for Best Supporting Actress.
Ooh.
And your two in the lead are Madigan and Taylor from One Battle After Another. Rob, when I first saw, why am I freezing on the name of the movie?
Weapons.
When I first saw Weapons, I was floored by it, and I was floored by her, but I never thought of her, Madigan, in terms of Oscar potential.
She's
and then
not real.
somebody,
She's
yeah, she's not real. But then somebody mentioned it to me, and I went, no, oh wait, you know what? She really was that good. And right now, the public sentiment is on Madigan, but this is close, 47%, 31%. And of course, there are other actresses in the race there as well. Madigan's got the momentum. And so for will win, I think it's going to be Madigan. I think Madigan's going to win. Now for should win, I'm also going to say Madigan. And I'll tell you why. I'm not even sure Taylor should be nominated. Don't get me wrong. Her performance in One Battle After Another was quite good. It was quite good. But I don't even think she's in the top 2 best female performances out of that one movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think she was the best in that movie. I think there are a couple of other female performances that were better than hers in that movie. So, I mean, again, no shade at all. She's very good in it, and she's part of what makes that movie so good. But, and listen, she definitely has a shot. I mean, like I said, again, you can see it, 31%. That's a shot. That's a legitimate shot. But I think it will be Madigan, should be Madigan, and it should be Madigan up against somebody else, to be honest. But anyway, Rob, I know you love Amy Madigan in Weapons. I know you love.
I just love Amy Madigan in general.
Yeah, of course. So how do you see this should and will? How do you see it working out?
Here's the thing. And this is going to seem strange coming from me. Genre performances, especially when you're playing perhaps supernatural villains, are showy. They give you an opportunity to be very ostentatious in your performance. So I think people have an advantage if they can really make something indelible that you can't forget. But on the other hand, they have to be showy and ostentatious, and they have to deliver a performance that you can't soon forget. So for me, it sometimes it doesn't always come together. You might have a great performance, like I love Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, but I don't think he deserved an Oscar for playing Freddy Krueger. But in the case of Aunt Gladys, against my better judgment, dude, I love Amy Madigan. I love Kevin Costner's wife in Field of Dreams. I loved her in Streets of Fire. She's married to Ed Harris, one of my favorite actors. They're still married. I love them. When I saw Weapons and she first appears on screen, I didn't know it was her. I didn't know it was Amy Madigan. And I then by the end, I kind of figured it out, but I'm like, no way. And the fact that I didn't know, it took me a while, that was enough to convince me that this woman was fearless, throwing herself. I'm sure she thought working on this horror movie was the furthest thing away from being an Oscar-winning performance. So she went for broke. It was incredible. So,
oh my gosh, she was so good in it.
So good, and this isn't to take away from anybody else. It really isn't. But
again, I just what, Rob? I'll say this. It's shocking to me that Chase Infinity isn't nominated. Again, no disrespect to Taylor's performance. It was very good. I'll put her in any of my movies any day. But Chase Infinity, hell, Regina, I thought her performance was off the charts too. But anyway, we need to move on here. We still got a bunch to go to.
I know.
So the question is for you guys, what do you think? It is a closer race between Madigan and Taylor. Who do you think takes home the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. This one, there are 2 other categories that are already foregone conclusions. Much like the one for Best Actress, there are 2 other ones that are foregone conclusions, and we're not even really going to talk about them here. Because those 2 ones that are foregone conclusions are Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Original Screenplay. There is no question that One Battle After Another is going to win Adapted Screenplay. There's no question about it. It's got a 95% right now. There's just no other question. And then when you get to Best Original Screenplay, if I can find it here, where's my original screenplay? Well, anyway, Best Original Screenplay, that one's a pretty much automatic as well. That's going to be Sinners. Sinners also is in the 90% for that. So, those are foregone conclusions. We don't even need to discuss it. Adapted screenplay will be One Battle After Another. Original screenplay will be Sinners. Unless you disagree, Rob. I think those 2 are automatic.
Oh, I don't disagree at all. Nope.
Okay, then. Let's move on to our next one then, shall we? And this is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but the first time ever this category is going to be in there. Best Casting. Now, this is an interesting one because you're not just talking about who do you put in your top two leads, but you're talking about putting together the right ensemble that makes the whole project feel cohesive. And like many other categories, it's come down to Sinners and One Battle After Another. Rob, once again, I'm going to get you to put on your guessing hat. Do you think the public is behind Sinners or behind One Battle After Another for best casting?
You know what? I do. Okay. Sinners.
And you know what? You're right. Sinners is an 81% to 15% favorite right now to take it. And you know what? The casting in both of these films are pure impeccable. It's fantastic. But I felt like all the pieces to the puzzle just fit so tight in Sinners. I mean, we're not just talking Michael B. Jordan and the rest, but even Haley Steinfeld was the perfect choice.
By the way, she delivered a hell of a performance.
Oh, yeah. She delivered something that, look, I've known for years she's a hell of an actress. She doesn't get the credit she deserves. But I mean, even for me, I think she went way above and beyond what I was seeing. But like everybody from like the Asian store owners to, obviously the kid, Daddy, I lied to you, like him, the married woman that he has his like fling with, the big doorman guy, like it, everything just fits so right. Yep. I will go should win Sinners, will win Sinners. Rob, how do you see best casting going?
Same thing. I mean, I love the cast of Sinners. I loved everybody they put in it. And, it was what a great ensemble cast. And there was frequently scenes where the ensemble was kind of all working together. And I've got to go with Sinners. Should win, could win, is winning.
All right. Guys, who do you think is going to take it for best casting, Sinners or One Battle After Another? Make sure you jump down and leave your thoughts below. All right. Now here's a category that I normally don't ever give 2 drops of urine about. And that is best original song. Don't get me wrong. I really do appreciate a lot of the songs in a lot of movies, but never am I really all that invested or interested in best song, mostly because unlike an acting performance, which the average actor will be in their movie for like 30, 40, 50 minutes, an hour and a half, depending how big their role is. Whereas a song is literally in the movie for about a minute, maybe 2 minutes, maybe at most 3. And then it's out of the movie. And it's only in like less than 1% of the movie. So I don't really usually care all that much. But I got to say this year, it's an interesting race, Rob, because you got 2 beloved pieces of music. You got the aforementioned I Lied to You from Sinners. And of course you have like the number 1 song globally, Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters, an animated film from Netflix and the good folks over at Sony, of course. And I've talked on this show for ever since the award nominations came out. A lot of people obviously say Golden because it's number 1 song in the world, but a lot of people standing behind I Lied to You as well. So Rob, I think you know the answer to this, but where do you think the public sentiment is behind on this? Golden or I Lied to You?
Bro, it's going to be Golden.
Yeah, by an easy margin. It's as you can see there, it is indeed Golden, 86% to 15%. And you know what? I'm torn too, because what usually drives me crazy about best song is that 75% of the time, Rob, it's just a song that's literally just thrown on the end credits. Like that lady, it's Lady Gaga, right? Who does the thing for Top Gun Maverick?
Right.
I'm gonna fly through the clouds. I'm gonna fly through the sky. Like, who cares? That has nothing to do with it. It's literally just thrown over the end credits. But I Lied to You and Golden are both songs that are woven into the film and actually tell the story of the film as their golden. Golden is a piece of narrative in K-pop Demon Hunters. I Lied to You is an important part of Sinners. And that's what I like about both of these. So I'm going to say should win Golden. I'm obsessed. And listen, everybody knows I'm not a big fan of the K-pop Demon Hunters movie, but I am obsessed with the soundtrack. I love it. I love the soundtrack to this movie. So I'm going to say should win Golden. And I'm going to say I Lied to You is going to win. I'm taking the underdog on this one, even though it's only being given right now a 15% chance. If you look at the public, I actually think it's just the way it works into the movie, how pivotal that whole scene is. It is ultimately the song that calls out to the vampires, right? And makes them catch their attention and brings them in. I think that's the sort of thing the Oscar voters are looking for. So I would vote Golden, but I think I Lied to You is going to win. Rob,
Wow.
What do you think? Would win and should win?
Well, you made compelling arguments. I like both songs, but I think Golden was kind of it's a phenom. And you know, the one thing about K-pop Demon Hunters that I think people forget is, you know, one woman came up with the idea, you know, and developed it and nurtured it and brought it into being. And I think that that could have gone another way in terms of the musical identity of that movie. But the music is incredible in K-pop Demon Hunters, much more interesting than I think it probably should be. Whereas Sinners, I expected, you know, Mr. Good, I can't even pronounce Göransson. Ludwig has done such incredible work. I would expect the music of Sinners, and it is amazing. So it's not a surprise. But I think that K-pop Demon Hunters, I think probably would have the momentum. However, the music in Sinners is incredible, and I do think he's going to win Best Score. So,
all right. Let's now, well, actually, the question is for you guys. Who do you see taking home Best Song? I mean, it's going to be one of those two. I Lied to You or Golden. Jump down to the comments and let us know. All right. We're just going to touch on this one momentarily because I don't think there's a lot of debate or discussion here. Rob, in the category of Best Film Editing, everybody seems to be, and all, the guilds have seemed to be voting for One Battle After Another. It does have the 86% odds over F1 at 8%. But I think this one's a foregone conclusion. One Battle After Another takes Best Editing. And frankly, I have no issue with that. I think that's the right call. Any
100%.
Thoughts on that?
No, absolutely.
All right. So we're both going to go with One Battle After Another takes that. All right, well, let's bring it a little bit close to home. It's not one that we often talk about a lot, but we have an entire show on our channel dedicated to it, which is, of course, Designing Hollywood, which brings up the question of the Oscar for Best Costume Design. Now, Rob, the public sentiment has the top two as being Frankenstein and Sinners. Who do you think the public is behind to win the Oscar for Best Costume Design?
John, this is tough for me. I've interviewed both Ruth Carter and Kate Hawley.
They've both been on our channel. Yep.
And I have a mad crush. Actually have a mad crush on both of them, but I have a mad crush on Kate Hawley. I'll totally admit it. I want to run off to New Zealand and go live on her farm. That said, this is tough for me because I think the costume design in Frankenstein's amazing, but I'm going to have to go with Sinners.
Now, what is that? Is that who you think the public is behind? Who you think should win? What is it?
I think the public is probably behind Frankenstein.
And your should win and will win?
My should win, I think, is Sinners.
And will win?
I think my girl Kate's going to carry it home.
All right. Well, let's go over and take a look at what the public thinks, and it's not close. Frankenstein is 90%.
Yeah.
90%
like I
behind
said,
it.
I want to run away with Kate Hawley and go live on her farm.
And again, like the costume design in Sinners was fantastic, but the costume design in Frankenstein, it's just a subject matter in an era that just lends itself to more creative expression in the costume design. I believe will win, should win. is going to win.
And
will
Ruth
be
Carter
Frankenstein.
has won 2 Academy Awards already.
Yeah, she's got 2 already. Yeah, she's got. Don't feel too bad for Ruth Carter. She's got 2.
I mean,
Oscars.
And Ruth Carter, by the way, if you don't watch on Designing Hollywood, I did interview her. And what's interesting about the Sinners costumes is Marvel allowed her to repurpose what she'd been developing for Blade, the MCU Blade movie, and bring them over to Sinners. So good on them. And my girl Kate Hawley, I'll come visit you.
All right.
That's your Oscar.
We're not going to spend too much time on this one, but let's go over to the category of Best Animated Feature. It is basically considered a 2-horse race between K-pop Demon Hunters, again, a film I don't even think is necessarily all that good, with an amazing soundtrack, and Zootopia 2, which was surprisingly good. So, Rob, we got K-pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2. Who do you think, before I bring up the numbers, who do you think the public is behind on this?
I think the public's behind K-pop Demon Hunters.
And you would be right. K-pop Demon Hunters is a 93% favorite. 93% favorite. And here's the thing. I just think a lot of Oscar voters watched both of these movies with their children. And the ones the kids like is K-pop Demon Hunters. Every convention I've been to this year, I have been my eyeballs have been flooded with K-pop Demon Hunters costumes. And I think that's, again, look, for me, should win is probably going to be Zootopia 2. Will win is going to be K-pop Demon Hunters. Rob, how do you see it?
Totally agree. I mean, look, Zootopia 2 didn't fare too badly at the box office. So, I mean, that was a win. And I think the Zootopia films are terrific movies. But this is K-pop Demon Hunters year. And again, if you look into the woman that created it and why she created it, I think it comes off as being this crass commercial cash grab, K-pop Demon, but it's not that.
It's really not. It's look, I'm not a big fan of the movie, but it's really not. It
has real heart and soul behind its inception. Really, really interesting. And I think it deserves, look, Zootopia, if it was Zootopia and K-pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia would have it. But Zootopia 2 is a sequel. And in my mind, K-pop Demon Hunters was a big swing and a win. And I think its subject matter is never going to be considered as weighty. I mean, it's funny to say this between Zootopia and K-pop Demon Hunters, but K-pop Demon Hunters was a little bit kind of lightweight. But then you have to ask yourself, K-pop Demon Hunters astonished its audience. It's going to resonate for a long time. I saw an interview today with a guy from a toy company who nobody wanted to make K-pop Demon Hunters toys before the movie came out. And then he actually saw it the first weekend, and he made a call Sunday night to Netflix to try and get, to start a rights deal. And by Monday, every single toy company wanted K-pop Demon Hunters. So the phenomenon of K-pop Demon Hunters tells us how much penetration it's had. And isn't that what you want from a film? It's a pop culture phenom. And that in itself is worthy of song.
I still, at the end of the day, you should just vote for what you think is the better movie. I mean, at the end of the day, but I think a lot of Oscar voters are legitimately going to feel that K-pop is the best animated movie of the year. I mean, just because I don't think it's that terribly good, I'm in the minority. Almost everybody, even in my own house, Anne loves this movie, like loves K-pop. So, and a lot of people do. All right, guys, question for you. What's going to take home Best Animated Feature? Jump down to the comments below and let us know what you guys think. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to one that's got a special place in my heart. Rob, you know that for a number of years, I actually worked with the CG visual effects company.
Yeah.
And so Best Visual Effects have always had a very, very special place in my heart. Now, while Sinners has had some wonderful effects, this to me is a no-brainer. Best Visual Effects is going to go to Jimmy C and his team for Avatar Fire and Ash. That's sitting at a 93%. I don't think, now maybe you'll prove me wrong here, Rob, But this is a should win, will win situation. I don't really know that anybody is thinking anything other than Avatar Fire and Ash should win or will win best visual effects. But I don't know. How do you see it?
Dude, as a Cinefex reading, I have every issue of Cinefex. I'm a huge effects junkie. James Cameron has always pushed the effects envelope, and never as far as he has with these Avatar films. And he pushed them even further. I mean, you have an aerial attack against dirigibles or giant balloons, whatever you want to call them. It's not there. It looks like it was shot on location somewhere. There is no location. They're shooting in tanks. What they've done, motion capture in the water. These are the most astonishing special effects extravaganzas ever made. I don't know if they'll ever be surpassed. And he deserves all the kudos in the world. Should win, will win, absolutely, all the way, every day. Unbelievable. The work in this film is truly astonishing. And all you have to do is watch those 2 Disney Channel specials on the making of the Avatar films. Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable.
All right. We've only got 2 more we're going to cover here. One is an Oscar category, one is not, but I think it's interesting regardless. The final Oscar category we're going to talk about here now is the big one. Best Picture. The last award that's going to be named at the end of the night. We all know that for Best Picture, it is a 2-horse race, as the 2 names that have been repeated the most during this conversation. One Battle After Another and Sinners is who it comes down to. And it looks like it's not close. One Battle After Another is a 76% favorite. Now, listen, this is another one of those situations for me, like Michael B. Jordan and Timothée Chalamet. Both of these movies to me are so freaking good that I have no qualms. I'm going to cheer regardless of which one of the 2 gets named, because they're both that good. But again, if I were an Oscar voter going with the should wins, I'm voting for Sinners. I just thought Sinners had a little bit more oomph to it. The craft was just a little bit tighter. I just, walked out of it with just a more elevated experience than I did with One Battle After Another by microns, by mere microns. So this is going to go. So should win for me is Sinners. Will win for me is One Battle After Another. And I will raise a glass to it because the movie's phenomenal. It deserves it, but I would be voting for Sinners. Rob, we're looking now at the big win. One Battle After Another, Sinners. Which one should win? Which one will win?
I'm torn on this, but I really do think overall that One Battle After Another, a loose adaptation of a Thomas Pynchon novel, with all these performances, with all of I think it should win, and I think it's going to win. That doesn't take away my love and enjoyment of Sinners, which I've watched more times than I care to admit. But there's something about Sinners that, to me, it's probably the most entertaining and my favorite movie of the year. But I do think that One Battle After Another somehow resonates more for our times. And it has so much to say on so many different levels. I think it's truly a triumph of a film. So I'd have to say I think it will win, and I think it should win. But
all right,
that doesn't take away from how much I love Sinners.
Yeah. I mean, again, for me, they're just both so good. They're both so good. And either way, we as film fans win. But I think the one that's going to take it home, be ready to hear the name One Battle After Another. But I'll be an extra little bit excited if it actually ends up being Sinners. All right. Now, guys, that's all we're going to go through as far as the actual Oscar categories themselves. But there is one more vote to be had. You know, Rob, this year was interesting for a number of reasons, but one of the most interesting things going into the Oscars this year is that a brand new all-time record was set for most nominations ever by a single film. Sinners. I think the previous record was 14. 13 or 14, Sinners got 16 nominations. 16 nominations. All-time record. It's going to be hard to beat because most live-action feature films don't qualify for more than 17 or 18. They don't even have a chance for more than 17 or 18. So, and Sinners got 16 nominations. But obviously, Rob, during this discussion, the two names that have been brought up far more than anybody else in terms of films is One Battle After Another and Sinners. So the question was put to the public, which movie will win more Oscars, despite the fact that Sinners has 16 nominations? Which one will win more Oscars? And Rob, the public sentiment is that One Battle After Another will win more Oscars at 67%. And you know what? I completely agree. Because, you know, when we went down through the list of nominations before, I remember somebody asked, like, how many do you think Sinners can now tie? Because that's 16 nominations. Do you think it can tie or beat the most recent movie to hit the mark? 11 Oscar wins in a single year. That was, of course, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. That was the last one to do it. 11 wins. Can Sinners, with 16 nominations, beat that record? And I said, listen, I'm not exactly sure that Sinners is going to win 4 or 5. And which again, listen, any movie winning 4 or 5 Oscars is amazing. Don't take anything away from that. But yeah, man, I just, Sinners deserved a lot of the nominations. It deserved all the nominations it got. I don't see it winning a lot of them. And so I think 4 or 5, which is going to be an amazing amount, but I agree with the consensus. I think One Battle After Another is going to win more Oscars. I'm not sure how I feel about which one should win more Oscars. I'd have to go back and count through my picks, but I do think One Battle After Another will end up coming out of the 2026 season as the winner of the 2026 Oscars. It's going to win Best Director. It's going to win Best Picture. It's going to win Best Screenplay. And I think ultimately it will end up winning more Oscars than Sinners. Rob, what do you think about that?
100%. I mean, the fact is, I love that Sinners got nominated. I mean, maybe in technical categories, it has a chance to win more. But I do think in the large categories, One Battle After Another is going to surpass Sinners. I mean, I do think Sinners probably has a lock on Best Score and Best Screenplay, Best Original Screenplay, things like that. But maybe it'll get Best Sound or something. But One Battle After Another is a very impressive piece of work from a very incredible filmmaker. So whoever wins, it's richly deserved. But I do think that it's going to be One Battle After Another.
And all right, guys, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win the most Oscars at the ceremony this year? Is it indeed going to be One Battle After Another? Is it going to be Sinners? Well, I don't think any film has enough nominations to really beat either one of those. But whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on, of course, to the most important part of our show, which is taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we've got 2 things we have to do. First, we have to bid good afternoon to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. I will see you in just a couple of hours as we go to see
you will.
Project Hail Mary, my friends. I'm so excited for that. Great job as always. I'll talk to you a little bit later tonight.
All right, sir.
All right, have a good one. And of course, guys, we're going to take a moment here and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at BetterHelp. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. You know, March is a time when we celebrate the women in our lives and recognize everything they carry every single day. Women often take on a lot, and sometimes their own well-being gets pushed to the side. And it's a great reminder of how much women give to the people in their lives. So this month is a great time to pause and reflect on the roles that you carry and the pressures that can come with them. Therapy can be a helpful space to work through those challenges, create balances, and set healthy boundaries so you can take care of yourself too. And that's where BetterHelp comes comes in. BetterHelp connects people with licensed therapists who follow a strict code of conduct. With over 30,000 therapists and more than 6 million people served worldwide, BetterHelp has an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for live sessions based on 1.7 million client reviews. They also match you with a therapist based on a short questionnaire, and if your first match isn't the right fit, you can switch to another from their recommendations. Your emotional well-being matters. Find support and feel lighter in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's betterhelp.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, let's get things started here. Now, as you guys know, you can send in questions one of two ways. One, if you don't watch the show live, you can use our tip link, again, at streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. You can find the link for that down below. And we're going to start off with those questions that got sent in here. So let's go on over and take a look, see what we got. We're going to start things off here with Dallas Hawes. And Dallas Hawes says, where am I? Oh yeah, John, I've been watching you for 10 years now because I found you after searching for any film critic anywhere that at least liked Batman versus Superman. I did like Batman versus Superman. I don't care what anybody says. Where are we at here? At least like Batman versus Superman and truly got the Martha moment. Once I listened to you guys talk about it, I knew you were my guy. Haven't missed an episode since. Well, thank you so much for that. Now, listen, I actually put out an editorial video. You can search for it on my YouTube channel. I put out an editorial video called Defending the Martha Scene, because I think people, now it's Zack Snyder's fault for not communicating it right. But the Martha scene, why did you say that name? I think that is a massively misunderstood scene. Now, you guys can go and watch me do the full explanation for why, but it's not just, wait a minute, your mom is the same name as my mom? What? That's not what that scene's about. Anyway, you can go watch my little video called Defending the Martha Scene, because I think it's a very important thing in cinematic history that we should all understand and talk about. All right, let's go to the next one here. The next one comes to us from Amin, who writes, when you were starting out with the movie blog, maybe even AMC, how did you strike a balance between chasing trends to get traction and your name out there and the personal projects you actually wanted to work on and topics you wanted to talk about? You know, it's funny you asked that question right now, because I was literally just having a conversation with a couple of business people yesterday, throwing suggestions at me about how to grow the channel. And what I told them was, guys, what you don't understand, while every other YouTuber out there, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way, it's just not me. That's all. So what I'm about to say, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not me. Well, every other YouTube out there is constantly wondering, how do I get more views? And how do I get more clicks? I can 100% with all honesty tell you, I have never cared. I've never cared. If I wanted more views and clicks, now there's 100 things I could do, but the one I always use an example is I would do trailer reactions. And again, nothing wrong with trailer reactions at all. There's a couple of trailer reactors I really enjoy. But like, if I just wanted to get more views and more clicks, I would do trailer reactions. I would make shorts. And by the way, every once in a while, there's a short I want to make, and I've done a few shorts here and there. I probably will do a few shorts moving forward, but I'm not going to make a content strategy around it. Everybody seems to like it when I rant. My rants are the highest viewed videos that we have. But there's a reason I only go into like one really big rant. Like I'm sure I could go into some big Peter Griffin grind my gears rant every single day. But I don't. I do one a month. But I know I could get a lot more clicks and a lot more views if I just do that. Or if I talk more negatively. Like if you go on, I think it's safe to say I do an audit of this every once in a while. If you go onto my YouTube channel and you look at all the videos, minimum 90% of the videos have to be positive about things I love, things I like, things I'm interested in, things I enjoy. I try to make sure the number of negative things on my channel are like 10% or less. Always be honest, but never allow myself to become one of the hate clickers. Like get outrage bait. Everybody loves outrage bait because it gets clicks. And again, I get it. But I can honestly tell you, and maybe this has been to my detriment, and that's fine. I can live with that. From day one that I was doing the movie blog until today, I have never once ever asked myself the question, what can I do to get more clicks or more views? I have never asked myself that question. The only question I am always asking myself is, how can I make my content better? And sometimes I succeed and sometimes I fail. But that is always my goal. What can I do to make my content better? Better content, not more views. How do I make a show that I would enjoy watching? That's usually my North Star. And that's where I start and that's where I end. So in asking the questions like, how do I find the balance between chasing trends? I've never chased trends. Like if I talk a lot about Avengers Doomsday, it's because I want to talk about Avengers Doomsday. If I talk a lot about Star Wars Starfighter, it's because I want to talk about Star Wars Starfighter. If I talk a lot about Project Hail Mary, it's because I want to talk about Project Hail Mary. I've just done it. Now, one of the negative repercussions of that is that I don't have as many views as I could. If I did more outrage, if I did more shorts, maybe, if I did trailer reactions, if I did more like movie reactions, like pretend like, like you've seen these YouTube channels all the time, pretending like they've never seen a movie before. And then watching this movie for the first time going, wow, Darth Vader's his dad. It's like, you run a movie channel. You're not going to tell me you've never seen Empire Strikes Back. Okay. Like stop the pretend. Anyway, I could do all that. And I'm sure I could have more views, whatever, but this philosophy has served me well because there's a lot of people in this business, guys, that have come and gone since I've been here, and I'm still here. And so it's always worked for me and I will always do it. Yeah, my number one thing is just always, that's why when people ask me, I get a lot of people who ask me all the time, and I'm sorry that I'm going on this for a long time, but just indulge me for another second. I always get people ask me, John, how do I grow my channel? That's always what they ask. They never ask. I never have anybody write to me and say, hey, John, how can I make my channel better? Everybody always writes to me and say, John, how do I grow my channel? John, how do I get my audience? John, how do I get more clicks? And they hate it when I respond and I say, dude, you're asking the wrong question. That's not the right question to ask. Just focus on making your content better. Because listen, I really do believe while nothing is guaranteed, if you just truly focus on making the best content and you truly start cranking out good content, you will find your audience. That's just what I believe. That's just what I believe. Anyway, that's that. Sorry I went on that for a long time, but it's a great question. Thanks for asking me. Okay, next up. Real Life Ent celebrates 29 months of being a channel member. Almost a member for 2.5 years. Been a fan way longer, though. Love you guys. Thank you so much for that, Real Life Entertainment. I appreciate that very much. And thank you for being a channel member for so long. Arnav writes, hey, John, have you gotten any news on live action Miles Morales? There is no live action Miles Morales. Will he be in Secret Wars? No. And will it be Caleb McLaughlin? No. If not, is Caleb in any talks with Marvel? I don't know. I have no idea if he's in any talks for anybody else. But guys, listen, I don't know how much more clear I can say this. There is no live action Miles Morales. He is not going to be in Doomsday. He is not going to be in Secret Wars. I recently did a video. You can see it on the editorial section on the front page of my YouTube channel called Understanding the Spider-Man Rights. Marvel cannot have a live action Miles Morales. Period. End of sentence. And if you really want to make sure that you fully understand it, Kevin Feige, we did a story about this on the channel. Kevin Feige directly clearly stated, I have been told hands off. I can't do anything with Miles Morales. So no, there is not going to be a live action Miles Morales anytime soon. Someday, like way down the road someday, but there's not going to be a live action Miles Morales anytime soon. All right. Let's see. Next up, we got Rich Jones, who writes, if Masters of the Universe is a success, do studios give other similar shows a shot, like She-Ra? No. Thundercats? Maybe. Captain Scarlet? Don't even know what that is. Centurions? Don't even know what that is. Another shot at Thunderbirds? No. If so, which are likely? See, this is, to me, and I could be very wrong about this, by the way. I could be 1,000% wrong about this. But like, to me, it's like the same kind of question that came up with Mario Brothers. You know, when the Mario Brothers movie was about to come out a couple of years ago, a lot of people were asking, hey, if Mario's a big success, do you see them making a bunch of other movies from other Nintendo projects? And what I said was, the problem is there's only one Mario Brothers. Like, when it comes to Nintendo, there's one name, and it's Mario. And I said at the time, if you guys remember, the only other one that kind of maybe gets remotely close is Zelda. That's the only other one that maybe kind of gets in there too. I said the problem is no other Nintendo property has the generation after generation, at like literally 3 generations of fans. You could literally have a Saturday morning where you have a grandfather, a father, and a kid who've all grown up with Mario Brothers, who all of them have grown up with Mario Brothers, and they're all playing a Mario Brothers game, whether it's a Mario Kart or there's a Mario World or whatever. They just don't have anything else like that. So getting back to the whole thing about Masters of the Universe, there's really not much else that's in that same league as Masters of the Universe. I don't think there's going to be I don't think any studio wants to put a lot of money into making a She-Ra thing. Thundercats is I don't think they're ever going to do a Thundercats movie, to be honest, but I think that's the one that's got a shot. I don't think it'll happen, but I think Thundercats, ho! I think that one's got a shot. Ancient spirits of evil, transform this decrepit form into Mum-Ra, the ever-living. No, here's the thing. Why did Mum-Ra not always, this decrepit form? First of all, don't be so hard on yourself, Mum-Ra. You got to love yourself. But I've always wondered this. Somebody help me out with this. If just saying the words, ancient spirits of evil, and then he says, and he transforms into this giant, hulking, muscular guy. Why not just stay as that guy? Like, I know he's got to go take a nappy poo every once in a while, but I always wondered that watching the show. Why didn't he just stay like that? I want to be jacked. I want to be Mum-Ra, the ever-living, not Mum-Ra, the decrepit form. But anyway, that's just me. These are questions. These are the types of questions I would ask myself when I was younger, guys. I would sit around late at night wondering about these questions. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Joey Liberatore writes, would there be a moral dilemma on Polymarket bets? We talked about the betting platforms yesterday. Would there be a moral dilemma on Polymarket bets on bets on Rotten Tomatoes scores of upcoming films? I experimented with it for The Bride and had fun with it. Bet responsibly, everyone. Yeah, you guys, again, I talked about this yesterday. While I acknowledge and I agree that, and like I said, I've got somebody in my life that practically has destroyed their own life through gambling. I understand gambling can be a problem, but I also believe that adults should, without impediment, be allowed to enjoy adult things with adult responsibility. Like, is gambling in our society a problem? It absolutely is. But so is alcoholism. We don't ban alcohol. We don't discourage people talking about alcohol. Is obesity a problem? Absolutely. But we don't discourage people promoting or talking about ice cream. I just believe people should be able to do adult things with adult responsibility. And like, I use something like Prize Picks. I have fun. Now, when I use Prize Picks, I was talking about this yesterday, I bet like $5. All right, let's be clear. I bet like $5 that Dak Prescott will rush for more than 25.5 yards, right? Like I put like $5, $10 on it, just so I got a little bit of, I have fun with it. To me, it's fun, but I do so responsibly. Like I do so minimally. So we were talking about yesterday about, should people be betting on the Oscars? And that brought up a lot of questions. But see, this is one of the things that it could become a problem. Because if you can bet on Rotten Tomato scores, now there's also a safety net, but let me get to that in a second. Well, now there is somebody, by having a bet like that, you can, let's say for me personally, because I don't use it often. I don't put my reviews up very often on Rotten Tomatoes, but I am a verified Rotten Tomatoes critic. Okay. I don't know if you guys knew that. I only put up like 1 or 2 reviews a year on Rotten Tomatoes. When there's a movie I really like and I want to help it out, I'll put up one of my reviews. But anyway, let's say there was a Polymarket or a Kalshi bet of, will Project Hail Mary be over or under on the critic score? Will it be over 90%? Right? Well, I could then go, ooh, I as an individual, I have direct influence over how high or how low the score could be. So maybe I'll get a hold of Harloff, because he's one of the accredited critics on there as well. Maybe I'll get a hold of Johns. Maybe I'll get a hold of Stuckman. Maybe I'll get a hold of like 5 or 10 people that are all Rotten Tomatoes certified critics and say, guys, I know we all loved Project Hail Mary, but the betting line is 90%. Let's all give Project Hail Mary, let's all put a ton of money on it and then go give negative reviews to Project Hail Mary to bring the number down. Now, even if me and 10 other guys did that, the reality is there's something like, I don't know, 600 or more certified critics on Rotten Tomatoes. So even if me and like 9 other guys did that, it's probably not going to move the needle much, but that is a danger. That is a danger. King Daddy Goat is saying in his best Palpatine, do it. Do it. Good. Yeah. But so there are, like, that's where it gets sketchy, right? That's where it gets sketchy. When you can actually bet on something that you yourself have a direct influence on, that could get sketchy. Again, the sheer number of critics kind of insulates it, but that could be a problem. Although I don't really ever see that really becoming, this is more of the theoretical thing than anything else. All right. Next up, Dildar the Glorious writes in, started watching Breaking Bad. You'll be glad that you did. And I love it. Finished the first 2 seasons and already one of my favorite shows ever, but I want to bash my head through a wall because the early seasons has Walt and Jesse failing upwards by making so many bad decisions. Listen, I'll tell you, Breaking Bad is, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say it's one of the most beloved television shows ever. It is not in my personal top 5 favorite shows of all time, but it's truly one of the greats. I mean, it's and I think if you talk to a lot of television fans, a lot of them will put Breaking Bad in their top 5. It's just an insane show, and I'm glad you're getting on board with it, man. It's always exciting to hear when there's like this classic movie or show and finding out somebody who's never, experienced it, going through and experiencing it for the first time. All right, next up. Ricardo Vasquez writes, is this an overreaction? Will 2027 be the biggest year of movies since 2019? Movies such as Hunt for Gollum, Secret Wars, The Batman Part 2, Shrek 5, Sonic 4. Sonic 4 is not going to move the needle that much. But anyway, Beyond the Spider-Verse Part 3. P.S. Thanks for reopening up the tip link. Very grateful. It's definitely got a shot. Like, I think, now obviously you're looking at movies like Secret Wars is going to be massive. I don't know if it'll beat 2026. 2026 is going to be a massive year. And listen, we've already had a couple of films really overperform. Scream 7 really overperformed. Hoppers really overperformed. We're heading into Project Hail Mary, which is not going to be $1 billion film, but we're going to see if that one can clear $500, $600 million. That'll be interesting to see. I don't think it's going to have a big opening weekend. I don't think it's just not been marketed well enough. Not enough people have read the book. But hopefully, word of mouth will be like Elemental, Greatest Showman, the first Avatar, that it'll have a modest opening weekend like those films, but word of mouth will just spread about it and carry some momentum. But we'll see how that goes. I think 2026 will ultimately be the bigger year than 2027. I think 2027 will also be very big, like bigger, the biggest since 2019, but I don't think it'll beat out 2026. I still think 2026 will be the biggest. I think 2026 will be the biggest. All right. Let's see. Next up, Who is Chris writes, the Michael Jackson biopic is going to be huge. The early access tickets sold out all over where I'm from. Just imagine how much globally it's going to make. Dude, I have seen reports coming in from all over the place about the Michael advance tickets selling out, like completely selling out. People thought I was crazy when I said, guys, what are you doing? Why are you sleeping on Michael is going to be $1 billion film. And like, people said I was crazy. Now, after the trailer started coming out and people hearing how much other people are getting excited about it, they don't say I'm so crazy anymore, but I'm telling you, Michael is going to be $1 billion film. It's going to be the highest grossing musical biopic of all time. It is going to be $1 billion film. All right. That wraps up the tip link questions that you guys all sent in. Thank you so much for that. Now let's get over to the super chats that you guys watching live have sent in. You may have noticed I turned off the super chats a while ago, so that you can't send in any more super chats, but we do have a bunch of them to get to here. So let's jump over to the super chats, shall we? And we're going to start off with Chase, who writes, have you seen The Secret Agent? It was amazing. I have. Again, I was very, very late to it. I didn't see it till just a couple of weeks ago because I was just trying to get caught up on the Oscar films. Brilliant. I don't know that I've ever watched. I can't remember the last time I watched like a Brazilian film. But anyway, Wagner Moura, nominated for Best Actor. Phenomenal. Gut-wrenching yet uplifting ending. I mean, it's a wonderful film, truly deserved all the attention that it's getting right now during Oscar season. All right. Raymond Verada writes, have you seen the dad mom? What were you like in the 90s? I have meme. Even celebrities got on it. The funniest was the John Krasinski one with Asian Jim. Okay. So yes, that's the big theme right now is dad. What were you like in the 90s? But let me see if I can bring this up here. It's funny that you bring that up with John Krasinski because totally unrelated to all of that. I jumped on my Instagram today and I posted this on my Instagram. And my basic comment was, this will never stop being hilarious. Never. It will never stop being hilarious. Listen, Randall Park and John Krasinski can continue doing this gag for the rest of their lives, and it will never stop being funny. Anyway. All right. Next up, we've got Rick, who writes, hey guys, they're showing the Odyssey prologue before all screenings of Project Hail Mary 70mm IMAX. Nice. Maybe I'll get to see that tonight. Don't be late. Can't wait for tonight. Now, tonight, though, here's the thing. I don't know if they'll do that tonight because tonight isn't a normal screening of Project Hail Mary. It's a special advanced Amazon screening of it, fan screening. So I don't know if they're going to play any trailers. I'm not saying they won't. I'm saying I don't know. I don't know if they're going to play any trailers or any previews. So we'll have to wait and see. I certainly hope they do because I still haven't seen the prologue. All right. Mr. I sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you, Mr. I. And he writes, "Hey, John, don't know if you're planning on watching Ted season 2. I'm not. But there is at least one episode I think you and Ann will love. Season 2, episode 3, Dungeons and Dealers. It's an extremely well executed Dungeons and Dragons episode." Okay, I might. Now listen, I gotta say, I love the Ted movies. I love them. And I gave Ted season 1 a shot, and I found it funny. I did. I laughed a bunch watching it. I thought it was quite funny, but for whatever reason, it just wasn't clicking for me. And I kind of stopped watching it after about 3 or 4 episodes, even though I found it funny. But at any rate, I'm going to go and check that out because we've got our new Dungeons and Dragons campaign going right now, that we actually have a guy from Wizards of the Coast dungeon mastering our Dungeons and Dragons game right now. He's amazing. So yeah, I'm going to have to go and check out that episode. All right. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Thank you for supporting us on that level, dude. All right. Next up, Amin writes, "Part of me wants to be right with my predictions. The other part just wants to enjoy the show." I'm going to assume you're talking about the Oscars. "Regardless, I think most of us win. All the top contenders in each category would be worthy winners." I agree. Again, the only one I have some question marks is around the Best Supporting Actress one. Like, I don't even think Taylor was the best in her own movie. Very good, but I don't even think she's the best in her own movie. So I'd like to see Madigan win that, but you're right. As you go through the Oscars, the nominees, you realize, oh my God, there were so many great films this year, and we're going to get some very, very worthy winners mentioned. I mean, all right. Orange Hand writes, "Were you into Dungeons and Dragons back when the whole satanic panic thing was happening? Harry Potter was also targeted. And did you ever meet anyone who bought into this?" I was into Dungeons and Dragons. I got into D&D when I was a kid. When Dungeons and Dragons, like, I don't have any of the books here. They're all in the living room, but you know, they're these big, thick tomes now. I was into Dungeons and Dragons when it was those like 50-page paperback books. And I'm not lying. I'm embarrassed to say it, but I got to be real with you guys. My first Dungeons and Dragons character was a wizard. And his name, I'm not kidding. This is embarrassing. But nonetheless, my wizard's name was Zap. Z-A-P. Zap the Wizard. Because his favorite spell was lightning bolt. And so I named my wizard Zap. But yes, I remember, and one of my buddies, when I was a kid, who played D&D with us, he had to stop playing because his parents, buddy's name was Darren, and his parents, I guess, were quite religious. Although most religious people were totally like, listen, most religious people are totally cool with fantasy, and because, you know, people know how to separate fantasy from reality. But you guys may not remember, there was even a movie, a made-for-TV movie starring Tom Hanks. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to see if I can find an image of it. But there was a movie put out around that time called Mazes and Monsters. So obviously a play on Dungeons and Dragons, right? Obviously a play on Dungeons and Dragons, but it's called Mazes and Monsters. And as you can see in the subtitle, a fantasy game turns deadly. And the whole movie was based on this fear mongering that if your kids play Dungeons and Dragons, they're going to lose their sense of reality. And like, I can't remember what, I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I think like Tom Hanks's character, because remember, he was young when they made this movie. He was like going to throw himself off a bridge because, no, I'm a wizard. I can fly. And it was like so much of this fear mongering that it was unbelievable. But you know what was funny to me? Here's what was funny to me. Is that people watching this, oops, that's an accident. People watching this would have no problem reading their kids Cinderella. Cinderella with the magical witch and talking animals who uses sorcery to change a pumpkin into a carriage. Like that's the thing. That's the argument I always had with these people back then. It's like, wait a minute. So you watched Lion King with talking animals? Isn't that like demonic? You read your kids or watch Cinderella. That's a good example, Chuck All-Star. The Hansel and Gretel. It's like, I've never understood that stuff. And the whole thing against Harry Potter. Now, I was very much in Christian circles when the whole Harry Potter thing was coming out. And fortunately, while I'm trying to remember the name of the book, but while there was some of this ridiculous like fear mongering about Harry Potter's going to make your children worship the devil. Guys, I think we understand it's fantasy. Anyway, fortunately at the time, a couple of theologians actually wrote a book about Harry Potter and about this thing that's like, you know what? If you actually look at Harry Potter, there are some very strong Christian values presented in Harry Potter and blah, blah. So I was actually really good to see that. It was good to see that stuff. Anyway, okay, let's keep things going here, shall we? Next up. We've got, that was Orange Hand. We got King Daddy Goda writes, Undertone could make amazing profit, small budget. I still don't know anything about Undertone. I keep forgetting to ask Rob about it because I know we need to go see it. Cameron Bird writes, this an overreaction? Michael will get at least 4 to 5 Oscar noms, including Best Picture and possibly Best Lead Actor. The Oscar loves them some biopics. Way overreaction. We haven't even seen the movie yet. We don't even know if this movie's any good. The trailers look amazing. I think people are very excited about it. But at this point, guys, when we've had one trailer, I think we got to pump the brakes a little bit on it being a Best Picture contender and all that kind of stuff. Hey, listen, ask me again in a couple of months. I may sing a totally different tune. But for right now, I think just got to pump the brakes on a little bit. I think just got to pump the brakes on that Best Picture, Best Actor talk. We haven't seen a single thing. So let's just pump the brakes on that and talk about that a little bit later. Joe Adonis just sends in a $10 super chat badge to be supportive. Thank you, Joe. Wayne writes, game day, John. It is Project Hail Mary. Seeing it tonight. I'm so excited. Project Hail Mary today. Can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on the movie. Maybe you'll see the Spider-Man trailer too. Again, number one, guys, regardless of the improper language being used by people saying that the Spider-Man trailer is confirmed, it's not confirmed. Marvel never said they were dropping a Spider-Man trailer. Sony never said they were. Now, am I expecting it? I am. Just no, it's not confirmed. So if you're going to see Project Hail Mary just because you think you're going to get a Spider-Man trailer, understand you may not. And don't then go, well, Sony said they were releasing a Spider-Man trailer. No, they didn't. I mean, they may. I'm expecting it, but just understand they may not play it. That being said, being a special advanced fan screening, I'm not sure that they're going to be playing trailers. I don't know. So I hope they do, but we'll see because it is indeed game day. All right. Next up, Corey Johns writes, of all the nominations, my one big swap would be Superman over Secret Agent for casting. Great cast for TSA. Oh, the Secret Agent, but Superman had perfect casting. I think I would not take Secret Agent out. I would not take Secret Agent out. No. Now, I think an argument can be made because I think you're right. I think Superman, like everything from Jimmy to the Justice Gang to, I think it was all perfectly cast. I really, really do. But I would not bump Secret Agent out for it. And I love Superman. Don't get me wrong. I love that movie, but I would not bump Secret Agent out. I wouldn't bump that out. All right. Somebody's asking, did John ever talk about Obsession? We just talked about it I guess you missed the show either yesterday or 2 days ago. We went on and on and on about the trailer. We talked about a great deal. All right. Let's see. Next up here, we've got Isaac Martinez who writes, "Hey, John, call me crazy, but I have the feeling that K-pop Demon Hunters is going to sell out quickly due to the home release announcement." I have no idea what you're talking about. I know it's home release. I mean, Netflix is home release. Do you mean DVD? Here's the thing. Why would anybody buy? Okay, if you're talking about DVD, and I don't know what you're talking about, Isaac, to be honest with you, but if you're talking about like a DVD Blu-ray, why would anybody buy it? They literally already have it on Netflix. So unless they do, Kevin Soon is saying they're putting it on the Criterion Collection. Okay, so the Criterion Collection will then do what it does. They'll actually have very, very small amount available so that when they sell a very small amount, they can go, "Oh my gosh, we sold out." When really there's not much. Because really, come on, honestly, why would anybody buy it? Why would anybody buy it? Like, families already have access to it on Netflix. So again, I think with the Criterion Collection, they'll make like 10 copies available. And when they sell out all 10, obviously the number will be bigger than 10, but you see what I'm saying. When they sell the 10 copies, they can go, "Oh my God, K-pop Demon Hunters physical media sold out. Woo!" But they won't tell you it was 10 copies. But that is what it is. Again, I just don't see why anybody would get it if they can just watch it on Netflix. All right. Hollow Lord writes, "John, Nicole Kidman Scarpetta series Prime out. Listen, I didn't even know about this series till a couple of weeks ago, and I'm hearing really, really good things about it. I love Nicole Kidman when she's not doing one of those god-awful AMC heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Other than that garbage, I love her, and I got to check that series out. Haven't watched it yet myself, but I am planning on it." All right. X-Men Superfan writes, "Storm has been the most famous and prominent female character in Marvel since she has been introduced." That's arguable. Anyway, but never given her proper flowers. Do you think it's time for her to have her own solo film? It doesn't know. If the audience isn't asking for it, you can't do it. Like, I love Jubilee, but if you do a standalone Jubilee movie, no one's going to go see it. And I don't know that I agree. Like, Storm is an amazing character. And by the way, she is like seriously OP right now. Like in the current runs and stuff like that, she's basically God level. Like, she's far beyond Omega at this time, at this point in juncture. The way they've made her in the comics, she is beyond ridiculously powerful. That being said, no, I just don't think there's an audience to go. I think there's a lot of X-Men characters I love that I just don't see them doing. Like, I've always said I wanted a Bishop movie, but a Bishop movie wouldn't get any traction. I acknowledge that. Like, that's the one I really want. I really want a Bishop movie, but I don't think Bishop's going to get anybody out there. I think Storm, though, has to be a part of your ensemble, though. If you're going to make X-Men, you got to have Storm as a part of it. At least that's what I think. I think she's got to be a part of it. Okay. Next up, Espinoza writes, "If Timmy doesn't win Best Actor, does that make him the new Leonardo DiCaprio of the Oscars?" No, he's still way too young. Like, what is he, 29, 30? Yeah, I mean, listen, it is in the sense like Leonardo DiCaprio, if you think about it in the way of everybody knows he's going to get his because he's the best in the world right now. Timothée Chalamet right now is the best actor in the world. Understanding that Daniel Day-Lewis, who is the true best actor of all time, really isn't doing any movies now. Like, he just did one with his kid, but I don't know if that meant he's back. I don't think he's back. Timothée Chalamet is probably the best actor in the world right now. So he's going to get his. And if Michael B. Jordan wins it this year, Timothy will still get nominated 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 12 or 20 more times. I don't think it's because how old was Leonardo DiCaprio when he won his first Oscar? That's actually a great question. I can ask this question. How old, put it in Google here, was Leo DiCaprio when he won his first Oscar. Leonardo DiCaprio was 41 years old when he won for The Revenant. He was like a decade older than Timothée Chalamet is. So no, if Timothy doesn't win this year, again, he's still way too young. I don't think it causes any, no, he's no. He's still way, he's still like over a decade younger than DiCaprio was when he won his first one finally. All right. Next up, we've got X-Men Superfan again. Writes in, where are we at? All right. Are you aching for a Wonder Woman or Batman film greenlight confirmation? I know I am. No. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm very much looking forward to seeing, like, after seeing what James Gunn and his new DCU did with Superman. Yes, I can't wait to see a Wonder Woman movie. Can't wait to see Batman. That being said, I don't feel like I'm aching for it. Like, I'm not like, where the hell is this Batman movie? Where the hell is this Wonder Woman movie? James Gunn and Peter Safran are rolling out this DCU. They're thinking long-term. They're not rushing anything. And I know we're close. We are close to getting a Wonder Woman announcement. We are close to getting a Batman announcement, but it'll be done in its time. So I'm looking forward to that day, but I don't feel like there's any big urgency to do it right now. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Ask me again in a couple of months. I might give you a completely different answer. All right. Let's see. X-Men again writes, are you taking your wife, her friends, and your gay friends to see Devil Wears Prada? It seems like it's going to be great. Well, yeah, listen, Anne is definitely going. Anne is definitely going to wants to go see Devil Wears Prada. That's her Avengers Doomsday. Although she's very excited about Avengers Doomsday too, but Devil Wears Prada 2 is her Avengers Doomsday. Very, very excited. We don't normally take a lot of friends when we go to see a movie. We just book our own tickets and normally go to see our movie. But yes, I think a lot of her girlfriends, a lot of her gay friends, a lot of just straight men, gay women, straight women, I think a lot of people are excited about it because listen, here's the bottom line about it is this. Devil Wears Prada is actually, the first one is a very good movie. It's not just, I know it's kind of comes across as a chick flick. It is just a very good movie. It's just a really good film. And so you're going to get, yes, a lot of the fashionistas are going to be really excited about seeing it, but I also just think film fans are going to be excited about seeing it because the first one was really damn good. This is going to be a massive movie, guys. I'm not necessarily saying $1 billion film. But if you don't think that Devil Wears Prada is easily, I've heard some people tell me, John, Devil Wears Prada, nobody wants to see it. It's going to make like $150 million. I'm just telling you guys, if you don't think Devil Wears Prada is going to easily go past the $400 million mark, you're sticking your head in the sand. You're absolutely sticking your head in the sand. Devil Wears Prada 2 teaser was the #1 viewed trailer of all of 2025. Did you know that? If you watch my show, you do. It was the #1 viewed trailer out of all trailers, the #1 viewed trailer in 2025. And then in 2026, when they put out the first full trailer, it got into the top 10 most viewed trailers of all time. I think it's like number 9 or 8 or something like that. Now, again, that does not mean it's going to be $1 billion film, but it's going to be huge. This movie is going to be so freaking huge, guys. All right. Next up, we got Christopher Brickner, who writes, this is one of the hardest Oscars to predict. I mean, I don't know about that. Like the best actor category, I think it's tight. I think there are a couple of categories that are going to be a little bit tight, but for the most part, I think this is going to be one of the more predictable ones, I think. Which, hey, listen, thinking it's going to be predictable sets you up for surprise, so we'll see. All right. William writes, hey, John, I met you at LA Comic-Con. Oh, nice. After I saw Anne in a purple wig and stepped up to see if the guy next to her was you. Thanks a lot for making my day. Listen, one of the things that Anne and I, by the way, she was dressed up in her K-pop Demon Hunters costume. One of the things that Ann and I love about going to conferences and these conventions is like so many of our people are at these things, and we always get a lot of people, and the same was true at LA Comic-Con, that we had a lot of people come up and talk to us. Here's Ann in her, I think the name of the character is Rumi. Yeah, Rumi, right? Rumi. Anyway, that's Ann in her Rumi costume at LA Comic-Con. So yeah, I love that costume. It's a great costume. Anyway, where were we? So yeah, we love that. That's what I love when we're at Comic-Con or LA Comic-Con or wherever we go, whenever we go to these events. It's always so much fun when people who are part of our community recognize us, come up, and we get to talk for a bit. So that's always great. So thank you, William, for coming over and saying hi. I appreciate that. All right. And our last question of the day comes to us from Jayaneth, who writes, if Michael B. Jordan wins over Tim amid recent backlash, does that say Oscar weighs public reception over acting merit? Love Michael, but Tim was the early frontrunner. No, this is the thing that everybody needs to remember. Most of the Oscar voters had already voted before that. Like, I think the actual cutoff deadline was just shortly after this thing came out. So no, if Michael B. Jordan wins, it's because the majority of the people thought Michael B. Jordan was the best performance. Period. That's it. No other reason. Everybody always tries to come up with excuses. Oh, if this happens, then it's because of this. No. Let me just put this to rest right now. If Timothée Chalamet wins, it's not because everybody thinks, yeah, fuck opera, let's vote for Timothée Chalamet. No, if Timothée Chalamet wins, it's going to be because the majority of the voters thought he gave the best performance this year. If Michael B. Jordan wins, it's going to be because, and only because, the majority of Oscar voters thought he gave the best performance. Period. Nothing more complicated than that. It is a really tight race. Michael B. Jordan has been a part of the conversation right from the beginning. Yes, Timothy's won a lot of the awards, but a lot of those were Critics Circle awards. And those are great, and they can be telling, but it's when you get to the actual industry, the actual actors, the actual directors, the actual filmmakers, the members of the Academy, that's different. And listen, Michael B. Jordan was close in a couple of the ones that Timothy won. Michael B. Jordan was very close. So yeah, if Timothy wins, it's because they thought he was the best. If Michael wins, it's because they thought he was the best. That's it. Period. End of sentence. No more discussion needed. That's all it's about. So there's that. Anyway, great question though. Glad you brought it up. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thanks you guys very much for your support. Hey guys, keep your eyes open on the channel tonight because it's going to be a little bit late, but I am going to post my out of theater reaction to Project Hail Mary. God, I hope I like it and I don't walk out disappointed like I have in a couple of other films. But anyway, keep your eyes open for that and we will talk to you then. Guys, that'll do it for me. Thanks so much for being here. My name is John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.